Hi, everyone. Today, I look forward to sharing more about ProEthica, why we created it, and a brief overview of what it looks like and what it helps solve. So to kick things off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Rachel Post, and I am a product marketing manager for the Praxis District Solutions team. To go over our agenda today, we'll start off with an introduction. I'll introduce ETS and ETS Praxis. I'll go over some ethical challenges that we're facing today in the education system. I'll go through what professional judgment is and what it looks like in practice. And then I'll introduce ProEthica. I'll provide a brief overview and explain how it can be used. And lastly, I'll go through some resources. So you all know ETS, or you likely know ETS, as the global nonprofit that's been around for about 75 years. And we've been at the forefront of developing trusted assessments like the Praxis, the GRE, and the TOEFL. And you likely know Praxis as the teacher licensure exam. But Praxis now has moved beyond the teacher licensure exam to offer comprehensive research-based solutions designed to support educators at every stage of their journey. So we've expanded our solution ecosystem to support the teacher pipeline at every stage. In terms of building and expanding the pipeline, we've looked at international teachers, and we now have an international teacher recruitment and placement solution. We now support certification and educator readiness, and an example of this is our Praxis Testing Support Services solution. And then we work to strengthen educator retention through high quality PD and simulations that help support educators once they're in the classroom. So we recently conducted a live poll with an audience, and we asked them which of these ethical challenges concerns your organizations most. Is it responsible AI use, student privacy and data security, professional boundaries, social media and digital professionalism, or ethical decision making in complex situations? And in that live audience, 32% chose ethical decision making in complex situations as the ethical challenge that concerns their organization most. And then close behind was responsible AI use. And then following that, student privacy and data security. And that tees us up nicely for ethical challenges that we are facing today in the education system. So, teaching has always involved ethical decision making, but today our educators face new challenges involving AI tools, digital communication, student privacy, social media, professional boundaries, and public trust in education. And as technology continues to reshape education, schools, districts, and educator prep programs are being asked to address increasingly complex ethical situations with a lot of gray areas. I wanted to share this story because it illustrates really just how quickly the ethical landscape in education is changing. So recently, just in June, 29 New York City Council members called for a 2-year pause on AI use in New York City public schools. And what's interesting is that this wasn't a response actually to a specific incident or specific misuse of AI, but it was driven by concerns that AI adoption may be moving faster than policies, safeguards, and guidance needed to support its responsible use. And in this article, the council members raised concerns about student privacy, data security, transparency, and the potential impact of AI on teaching and learning. And council members questioned whether the schools in the school district had fully addressed issues like bias, oversight, and protection of student information before they allowed their teachers to expand AI use. And so, whether you agree with this proposed pause or not, and I know it's controversial, I think this story highlights an important reality. Educators are increasingly being asked to navigate situations that simply didn't exist a few years ago. And AI is just one example. Similar questions are emerging and have emerged around social media, digital communication, student privacy, and professional boundaries. And the challenge for schools, districts, states, and EPPs aren't just about creating policies, it's preparing educators to make thoughtful decisions when they navigate those gray areas, when they encounter situations where the right answer isn't always obvious. And so that's what makes this story so relevant to today's conversation. When we look beyond the headline, the story isn't about AI, it's about decision making. Because educators are increasingly facing situations where policies may not provide all the answers. They have to balance student needs, privacy, professional responsibilities, and emerging technologies. And this requires more than compliance training. It requires something called professional judgment. So, at its core, teaching is a profession built on decision making. And every day, educators make choices that affect students, families, colleagues, and their broader communities. Many of these decisions are not black and white, and they don't always come with a clear answer in a policy manual. I'm sure most of us know this. But when you think about the examples on this slide, how should a teacher respond when a student shares something sensitive? Or what's appropriate when, there's communication outside of school areas? How should AI be used in a way that protects student privacy? These situations often involve competing priorities and require educators to exercise judgment. And so ethics is not about just knowing the rules. It's about helping educators make sound decisions when the answer isn't immediately obvious. In a recent research report on ethics for educators, ETS researchers found that ethics education must go beyond teaching rules, standards, and codes of conduct. In fact, educators need not only knowledge and understanding, but they also need judgment in order to carry out their ethical responsibilities. And as the slide shows, ethics training often focuses on policies, standards, codes of conduct, and compliance requirements, but it really requires building professional judgment, practicing ethical decision making, reflection, and practice applying ethics in real world situations. So, as part of this research into ProEthica and judgment, one of the questions researchers explored was how educators develop this professional judgment. And the findings were consistent with what many of us experience in practice. Professional judgment does not develop by reading a handbook or reviewing a code of conduct. It develops through exposure to realistic situations, reflection, discussion, and opportunities to apply ethical principles in context. And this is really important because many of the challenges educators face today involve competing priorities, and they don't always have obvious answers. And so you can see here that organizations across the education ecosystem are already investing in ethics education and professional responsibility. So at the state level, we see ethics requirements, we see professional standards initiatives, and we see guidance around emerging topics like AI. And many states also align their efforts with the Model Code of Ethics for Educators, or MCEE, which was a framework developed by NASDAQ to support ethical decision making in education. And districts often address these same topics through onboarding, professional learning, certification renewal, and risk prevention efforts, while EPPs are also incorporating ethics into coursework and clinical experiences. And these efforts are really, really important. But many educators still have limited opportunities to practice applying ethical principles in realistic situations where the right answer isn't always clear. And so that brings us to ProEthica and why we developed it. So ProEthica is a research-based ethics training solution that helps teacher candidates and practicing educators strengthen this professional judgment through realistic, scenario-based learning. ProEthica is aligned to the Model Code of Ethics for Educators, and it helps educators navigate today's ethical challenges with confidence. Rather than simply presenting information, ProEthica places educators in realistic situations where they must evaluate options, consider consequences, and apply ethical principles. At the end of every section, there is a knowledge check to ensure understanding. There is rich feedback given to reinforce professional judgment, and there are guided ethical decision-making frameworks. ProEthica includes 20 to 60-minute modules designed to build ethical knowledge, professional judgment, and decision-making capacity for today's educators. I want to call your attention to Module 7, which is the Professional Educator and Artificial Intelligence. And this module is brand new and focuses on AI. And unlike any other ethics training tool, ProEthica has this entire module dedicated to AI, which is really exciting. As we know, AI tools are rapidly changing the ethical landscape for educators. The modules are of varying lengths. Module 2 is 30 to 40 minutes. Module 7 is 40 to 60 minutes. And in total, ProEthica can take about 4.5 to 6 hours to complete. ProEthica is different from, and I forgot to move the slide. ProEthica is different from other ethics tools on the market because it is proactive rather than reactive. It has educators engage with realistic scenarios in order to build this professional judgment, which is needed to navigate the increasingly complex ethical situations educators may encounter. So speaking of this Module 7, which is the ethical use of AI education, the slide here explains more about this module, and it goes over student data privacy, digital professionalism, and responsible AI use, and social media expectations. Each topic in ProEthica includes realistic scenario-based simulations that allow educators to practice ethical decision-making and reflect on the potential consequences of their choices. The AI-focused sections include interactive simulations that prompt users to engage with the chatbot around authentic ethical dilemmas, including AI and student data privacy, AI-assisted decision-making, and the responsible use of generative AI and social media. Each module includes knowledge checks to ensure understanding and includes personalized detailed feedback with recommendations and key takeaways referencing important professional frameworks. In order to complete a module, candidates must score 80% on the post test, and they have unlimited chances to reach that score. When someone completes all of the modules with successful completion of each module post-assessment, they receive a digital badge recognizing successful completion of ProEthica, and you can see an image of this badge on the right. In terms of pricing, we offer flexible solutions for individuals, districts, EPPs, and state agencies. For individual purchase of ProEthica, it is $50. And if you would like a facilitator's guide, that is an additional $19.95. And you can purchase this directly on our site. If you would like to bulk purchase ProEthica and you would like to purchase 50 or more licenses, that cost goes down to $45 per license. And this includes a free facilitator's guide and a free reporting dashboard, which I'll go over more in the next slide. For an enterprise purchase, this is over 100 licenses. This will offer customized pricing. This is ideal for large districts or EPP networks. And the best way to get this pricing, which is customized, is to talk to our sales team. And I'll include a QR code at the end of this presentation. So the facilitator's guide and the reporting dashboard are both included with a purchase of 50 or more licenses. The facilitator's guide provides discussion prompts, reflection activities, and implementation guidance for organizations that want to use ProEthica as part of a cohort or facilitated professional learning experience. Organizations also can receive access to a reporting dashboard, which makes it easy to monitor learner progress, completion rates, and assessment results across participants. Together, these resources make it simple to manage implementation while supporting meaningful discussion and reflection. When educators have a shared framework for ethical decision-making, educational organizations benefit too. It creates more consistency across teams, helps build trust with students and families, and gives educators a stronger foundation for handling complex challenges. Ultimately, the goal is to proactively prepare educators before issues arise, helping protect both students and staff while strengthening the overall culture of professionalism. One of the strengths of ProEthica is its flexibility. It can be implemented in a variety of ways depending on an organization's goals and audience. It's a fully online solution that can be completed independently or as part of a cohort-based learning experience. For districts, ProEthica can often be used as part of new teacher onboarding, professional learning, certification renewal, or broader district-wide ethics initiatives. It can also be used to support alternative certification programs as districts look for ways to prepare and support new educators. For educator preparation programs, ProEthica can be integrated into coursework, clinical experience, or residency programs to help candidates develop professional judgment before entering the classroom. It can also support accreditation and program quality efforts. And at the state level, ProEthica can support ethics training requirements, MCEE implementation efforts, and broader candidate preparation initiatives. So with that, that brings me to the end of my ProEthica overview. You can see on the slide, there's a QR code to book a meeting with our team. If you'd like to learn more, receive a demo, or gain greater insight into the ProEthica modules. And there is also our landing page on the right where you can find more information about ProEthica. And the last slide here is our appendix with our helpful links. You can see the landing page here again, and we also have 3 additional flyers. Thank you so much for joining me for this overview, and I hope this was helpful.